It's a stormtrooper gun.
Hello, fellow travelers. Today we're going to have a gander at the CANIK, METE, SFX, and SFT pistols. The METE line is based on the TP series of striker-fired polymer pistols, but with a host of upgrades based on end-user feedback. In other words, the internet spoke and CANIK listened. The changes are mostly small, but the end result is a marked improvement. When Adam from Century Arms told me he wanted to send me a couple of CANIKs from Turkey, I was very confused. He patiently explained using small words though, and once we were on the same page, I agreed to do the review, but I have to admit, at first, I felt like I was going to be rather underwhelmed. What's that? Another striker-fired polymer frame pistol? Whatever. But when I started handling these two pistols, I felt something begin to change. Oh! For me, the first thing that really stood out the moment I picked them up was how slim they felt in my hand. The grip is about 1/10 of an inch shorter from front to back as well as from side to side as my Gen 3 Glock Model 22 measured at the middle and not counting the finger bumps on the Glock. The second thing that stood out to me right away was how nice the trigger is. I mean, I'm gonna gush about this. The initial take-up is slightly rough and it has a sort of two-stagey feel, which is a little off-putting, but with minimal practice, you just pull right through that part, and once you hit the end of the take-up, the actual break of the trigger is extremely light and crisp, like the flavor of fine night vision from TNVC. I measured the break at 4 pounds, 1 ounce on the SFT, and 3 pounds, 11 ounces on the SFX, but as nice as the break is, the reset is the real star here. It is about as short and as positive as you could possibly hope for. I don't mean to labor the point, but the break and reset on the trigger would be impressive in any gun, and they are truly outstanding for something at this price point, especially for an OEM trigger. The SFT and SFX are the same except for barrel and slide length. They're both polymer frame striker-fired pistols with a striking internal similarity to the Walther PPQ. On the outside, it's packed full of thoughtful, useful features like the large, checkered, reversible mag release and a rear sight with an angled, serrated front edge that makes it easier to reload a pistol one-handed by catching the sight on your belt. The METE line is a result of user feedback on the TP series. The upgrades are somewhat subtle, but the cumulative effect is a notably more refined pistol. Besides that improved rear sight I just mentioned, the METE has a longer ambidextrous slide release, aggressive texture on the front strap, flared magazine well, and a reshaped trigger guard. Aesthetically, I'm getting some HK USP vibes, and I'm a real sucker for that peanut butter and chocolate two-tone look. As you can see, I have a type. CANIK ships the METE in a lockable hard case with one 18-round and one 20-round magazine, both made by Metgar. And no, it doesn't take Glock mags. It also comes with adapter plates for various red dot sight footprints, cleaning rod and brush, interchangeable backstrap, punch tool for detail stripping the gun, trigger lock, mag funnel, magazine loading tool, and this adorable pistol-shaped screwdriver with some bits and screws for mounting red dots stored inside the butt. Century doesn't know it yet, but I'm keeping this little guy. It also comes with a holster, which has reversible clips for inside or outside the waistband carry. It works okay outside the waistband, but I carried it inside the waistband for a couple of days and found it sharp and uncomfortable. I would prefer the gun rode lower in the holster and had a little bit of forward cant. The holster also really needs to have more rounded, smoother edges, and a sweat guard between the slide and my soft, fleshy belly would help quite a bit too. Still, it's well constructed and it's perfectly serviceable. Century shipped me a Shield RMSC with each pistol, and I gotta say I'm kind of a fan. It's optimized for size and weight, so it gives up some features like manually adjustable brightness, and I can't say I'm a fan of the battery mounted to the bottom, which means you have to remove the sight to change the battery, and that means you might have to re-zero. But those concessions allowed Shield to make the RMSC lighter than a hummingbird fart. It's about as unobtrusive as it gets, and I have to admit the automatic brightness is convenient. Shooting the METE is absolutely dreamy. I used to hate red dots on pistols because I didn't understand how to use them without spending more time chasing the dot than I would have just aligning irons in the first place. But somewhere along the line, somebody explained to me I had it all backwards. Instead of chasing the dot, you just press out like you normally would with irons. You watch that front sight enter your field of vision, start settling it into the rear, and all of a sudden, there's the dot naturally appearing where you need it to be. In the case of the METE, the optic cut is deep enough and the RMSC is thin enough, it can co-witness without the need for suppressor height sights. Century also gave me 1,000 rounds of collector edition, thanks Uncle Touchy, Red Army Standard 115 grade full metal jacket, which I split between the SFT and the SFX, with the latter getting a little more on account of he's a growing boy. Each pistol did experience one failure to feed within the first 2 or 3 magazines, but that's only because I'm a bad person. Before shooting a new pistol, you probably ought to clean it and lube it, and I did not. I checked the bore for obstructions and immediately started shooting. Now, I think the idea of a break-in period in a pistol is nonsense. If a gun doesn't work when you get it, either it's a 1911, oh, that's gonna hurt, or they didn't finish making it. But a couple of hiccups on lower-powered Russian range ammo early on without cleaning and without lubrication isn't remotely surprising. After cleaning and lubing them, neither experienced any further trouble through 1,000 rounds of the Red Army Standard, plus a couple hundred rounds of various different brass-cased American ammo. Disassembly works mostly like a Glock, except the slide only goes forward about a ½ inch before lifting off the frame. You clear the pistol, point it in a safe direction, drop the striker, pull back slightly on the slide while pulling down the takedown latch, then allow the slide to move forward a little bit and lift it up. After that, you lift out the captive recoil spring and then the barrel. If these guns sold for $700 or $800, they'd still be a decent value. They have a fantastic trigger with the shortest reset I can remember ever experiencing in any striker-fired pistol. They're handsome and reliable, and they come with a lot of useful stuff, like a 35-year-old divorced man without kids. But they're not $800 guns. Depending on model, the CANIK METE line sells for around $500 to $550. You know, I started writing about how this would be a great first gun for someone who can't afford a more expensive gun and wants to get into competition. But honestly, this is a very good gun in its own right at any price point, especially in the 500 range. If you have any questions because I missed something, or if I got something wrong, be sure to leave a comment down below. If you like banger content like this and want to help us keep making it, please support our sponsors. This video was made possible by TNVC, Winchester, Vortex, and viewers like you. Use discount code ARFCOM to get 20% off on fly threads like this on the Vortex website. I also want to remind you to check to see whether you are still subscribed to our channel. Our robot overlords and the tube of views know what we want better than we could possibly know for ourselves, so just go ahead and unsubscribe viewers from any channels they think are expressing wrongthink. Like this one. Now, you folks out there in TV land know censorship makes puppies cry, and Captain America is very disappointed, so don't forget to check every now and then just to be sure you're still subscribed to us. While you're at it, make sure you ring that notification bell so you never miss a word of our gun rights propaganda. And if you want to get email alerts for the best deals, the projects we're working on, and the hottest stuff you missed on the ARFCOM forums, you'll also find a Linktree link down there in the doobly-doo for our newsletter. I love you.